Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Imagine watching the person who's always been your anchor, the one who makes you laugh, who shares the morning coffee, suddenly becomes someone you barely recognize. The voice falters, the smile slips, the studio hushes. That's what happened when Mark's mask came off, and Kelly was left standing in the quiet that followed. Stay with me, because what looks like a headline is only the first chapter of a far deeper story, and what follows will surprise you, inspire you, and yes, leave you holding your breath until the very end. We open on a studio buzzing with the usual rhythm, producers calling cues, teleprompter scrolling, familiar banter that's part ritual. Kelly strolls in with the same practiced warmth. Mark is there, steady, polished, the image viewers have known for decades. But there's a small thing, a silence around him, like the hush after a bell. A glance held a fraction too long, a laugh that didn't quite land. The camera, trained to find comfort, lingers longer than usual. We set this scene not to sell shock, but to show a human moment, the gentle way the ordinary becomes a signal. That small misstep is the pebble that starts an avalanche, and the audience in their living rooms, many of them our viewers, feel a ripple that will grow louder. But why did the silence arrive? That question hangs in the air like the first line of a mystery. Breakdown is a loaded word. In tabloids, it's a headline. In life, it's a private collapse with public echoes. What unfolded wasn't dramatic yelling or scandalous confession. It was something quieter. Mark's voice catching on a phrase, an unexpected tear, the inhale before an old, heavy memory finds a way out. That moment is important because it reframes breakdowns from spectacle to signal, a raw human plea for understanding. For viewers in their 60s who've seen marriages, careers, and television evolve, this scene triggers memory and empathy. It reminds us that vulnerability is not spectacle, it's language. The camera catches Kelly's immediate reaction, not performance panic, but shared humanity. And that simple, shared human response is what this script will keep returning to, the idea that even the strongest among us need witnesses. Kelly Ripa has been the steady center of countless mornings, a bright, laughing safety net. So when she falters, the effect is seismic. In this scene, we focus on how she doesn't move to curtain Mark away or to smooth the moment over. Instead, she becomes a mirror. Steady eyes, a lowered voice, a hand that reaches out as if to say, "I'm here with you." For many in our older audience, that gesture resonates. It's the kind of reaction learned from years of marriages, friendships, and caregiving. The surprise here is not that Kelly is professional, it's that she lets professionalism bend to humanity. She gives space, she invites confession. That choice transforms an awkward live moment into something that will ripple outward as a model for how we care for the people we love when they break. What viewers heard wasn't accusations or scandal, it was a story. Fractured, halting, but real. Mark spoke of fatigue, of a season of feeling less like himself, of nights when laughter felt borrowed. He revealed small, intimate details rather than a single dramatic bombshell. Why does this matter? Because public figures often live behind narratives written by tabloids. Hearing a human stumbling through truth is rare and disarming. For our demographic who've weathered decades of media evolution, this felt like a return to older forms of storytelling, confessional, earnest, unglossed. The confession reframed Mark not as a celebrity headline, but as a person asking for grace. And in response, Kelly did something more powerful than touch a shoulder. She validated the story. Social media erupted, of course it did, but look carefully. The reactions were mixed and not only sensational. Some fans sent judgmental comments, others shared stories of their own fragile days. Importantly, entire families tuned in, calling older parents, checking in on spouses, remembering their own moments of vulnerability. Our audience, aged 60 to 65, recognizes how a family can circle around someone in crisis, not to invade, but to sustain. The conversation shifted from gossip to guardian instinct. Suddenly, the narrative moved from celebrity to community. Neighbors, friends, and relatives reached across kitchens and living rooms to ask the simplest, most precious question: are you okay? That's the kind of ripple we'll return to, how a public moment can become private medicine. There are conversations that never make headlines: whispered phone calls, late-night texts, meals eaten in companionable silence. After the on-air moment, Mark and Kelly retreated into those private dialogues. In our script, those scenes are gentle: a slow walk, a cup of tea, a hand held across a table. We imagine them exchanging confessions and promises rather than press statements. For viewers in their 60s, this is familiar ground, the pauses and repairs that mark decades of partnership. The key image: two people choosing patience over performance. This segment invites the audience to witness intimacy as care, not drama, the real restorative work that public platforms rarely capture. Emotional breakdowns often have physical echoes: sleeplessness, appetite shifts, anxiety. For older viewers, it's crucial to understand that emotional health is health. In this point, the script unobtrusively introduces the idea that seeking professional care is strength, not weakness. We don't diagnose, we encourage. Imagine a scene where Mark talks about visiting a counselor and Kelly describes their shared decision to learn new communication tools. This normalizes therapy for viewers who may have grown up in an era where stoicism was prized. The surprising turn: healing isn't about erasing pain,
live with it
it's about
differently,
learning.
with help, with tools, and with steady companions. That's the inspirational core, that reaching out changes outcomes. No person heals in isolation. This point shows the mosaic of support that matters. Siblings calling to check in, colleagues bringing dinner, fans sending heartfelt letters. For our viewers, this will echo the many community fabrics they've built over decades. The script paints small vignettes: a neighbor bringing soup, a longtime friend insisting on a walk, a producer giving space. These moments are ordinary and radical. Ordinary because they're simple acts of care. Radical because they remind us that society can still be human. We highlight how communities that surround public figures are often the same ones that sustain private citizens. The lesson: be the neighbor who notices. The press did what it does: reported. But the question the script asks is important. How do you report without exploiting human fragility? We show journalists who choose restraint, editors who weigh the public's curiosity against a family's privacy, and hosts who opt for sensitive framing. For older viewers who remember different eras of tabloid excess, this scene is a reminder that media can evolve. The surprising idea? Responsible coverage doesn't kill the story's momentum, it deepens the conversation. The segment invites viewers to be discerning consumers of news and to demand dignity for the people behind the headlines. Journalism, when done well, can illuminate without trampling. A passing misquote, a single line taken out of context, can do disproportionate damage. In our narrative, a throwaway remark is misreported and balloons into a trending falsehood. The effect is immediate. Friends call in alarm, old stories resurface, and the simple process of living becomes complicated by rumor. This point does two things. It demonstrates the fragility of reputation, and it empowers viewers with a practical antidote: context. We show Kelly and Mark calmly correcting the record, but more importantly, we focus on how ordinary viewers can respond. Pause, check the source, and refuse to amplify what is unverified. The surprising lift: the audience becomes part of the solution. Why does a moment in a celebrity marriage captivate millions? Because we see ourselves in it. This point returns to empathy. Kelly and Mark are not archetypes, they are mirrors. For our viewers, this is deeply resonant. Having lived long lives, they have seen relationships tested and mended. The script draws parallels: a neighbor's long marriage, a friend who finally asked for help, a child who called home. These personal echoes are the engine of compassion. The surprising twist is how compassion expands. This story doesn't shrink the couple into scandal, it enlarges the public's capacity for tenderness. That's the inspiration we want to leave in the air. Compassion grows when we let it. In the days after the on-air moment, a wave of kindness arrived from fans, letters, memories, small acts of support. Some of those fans were themselves older, writing with the intimacy of someone who's loved and lost. One elderly viewer shares how the moment prompted them to call an estranged sibling. Another sent recipes that had sustained their own family through hard times. These micro-stories are powerful. They show how public honesty invites private courage. For our audience, that connection is poignant. Decades give perspective, and perspective turns into action. The surprising lift? Fans aren't passive consumers. They're part of a caring network that can change lives. Boundaries, a small word with big implications. After the emotional moment, Kelly and Mark made choices about what to share and what to keep private. Our script treats this as an act of wisdom, not secrecy. For people our viewers' age, boundary setting is familiar and freeing. It's the right to protect the tender parts of your life. We depict scenes where they politely decline invasive interviews, where they choose to speak only through prepared statements, and where they ask for time. The message? Boundaries create safety. The surprising inspiration? Saying no to certain narratives is an act of self-care that the audience can practice in their own lives.